All right, welcome to another Sweet Tarts of Fighting breakdown. We're back again with Terrence Crawford. I promise you, I am not picking on Terrence Crawford. It just happens to be what's coming up on YouTube right now. So if you saw the last breakdown, I broke down some of the sprint intervals. A lot of people butthurt about that, of course, as usual. You're going to be more butthurt over this one, I promise you. So we're going to go through his strength and conditioning workout here on Box Raw. Again, a lot of inferences made. We don't know where in the training cycle this is, if he has a fight coming up, what the whole plan is, what the rest of the week looks like, etc. So a lot of inferences. Again, nothing against the fighters, coaches, nothing like that. I just want to dive into, what they're doing, why they might be doing it, etc., etc. So they're just doing a little cardio warm-up here. Sure, nothing wrong with that. I think there are better options, but nothing wrong with doing a little bit on there. So it looks like they're in a commercial gym. And again, even in the previous video with the sprint intervals, the sprint intervals were fine. I don't know why people were so upset about what I was saying. You're going to be upset now, though, so I don't give a shit. Okay. So it looks like we have banded bench press, or banded, was it banded incline or banded bench? Banded bench with incline dumbbell flies. Superset. So let's just see what he's doing. Yeah, banded flat bench with superset with dumbbell flies. Probably the dumbest. This is actually fully stupid, to be honest. Look, Terrence Crawford is an awesome boxer. He's an awesome boxer because he's the best at boxing. And I'm telling you now, what he's doing here doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So if we talk about banded bench press, the goal of adding bands to the bench press is to add accommodating resistance. And by accommodating resistance, it means that as you push the bar up, more resistance is added. And that means you reduce the deceleration that you get during the concentric phase. So typically with a normal, say, barbell bench press or concentric lift, you're going to spend close to 50% of the time decelerating the bar. Now, for athletic performance, we want to typically see acceleration-based profiles. It doesn't mean everything we do has to look like that, but if you're adding a band to the bar, that's pretty much what you're trying to get out of it. It also means you can push hard and fast throughout the entire range of motion, which he is not doing there. It just looks like a normal bench press, so you could literally just do it without bands. The band also overspeeds the eccentric. So depending on how you control it, you can overspeed the eccentric and you can get more energy stored on the way down to be able to have more speed and power on the way back up. Supersetting with incline dumbbell fly completely defeats the purpose of doing it because you're just adding fatigue to the chest. That's not the goal of what you're trying to do with the banded bench press. The banded bench press is trying to develop speed, strength, and power. Then the dumbbell fly, you're just adding fatigue, reducing speed, strength, and power. So it makes no sense. Further, the dumbbell fly isn't... Okay, it works within a training program when you're looking to potentially use it almost like as a mobility exercise. So you might use it at the end of the session, almost like as a shoulder health based exercise. It doesn't make any sense outside of that, especially within boxing, to use the dumbbell fly. Just doesn't, and even in the superset, it doesn't make sense. So a lot of a weird first exercise pairing, to be honest. A better pairing would have been... Has he got two strength and conditioning coaches with him there? Interesting. A better pairing would have been some kind of medicine ball throw with that banded bench press. If he was going to superset with something. Or even superset with some kind of pulling exercises. It could have been with chin-ups or something like that. Depending on what the goal of the session is. If you're starting with banded bench press, I'm assuming the session is either a strength-based session or some kind of speed power-based session. All right. So we finished with our compound movement, supersetted with our fly. And now we are going into... Is he doing a lateral raise or front raise? He's doing a front raise. Or is he doing a lateral? Okay. He's doing a... Is he doing a... Oh my... Okay. So he's doing a front raise combo with a lateral raise. No words. For general shoulder health, sure. But fuck me. I've only watched up to here, so I don't know what comes after all this. I just saw what was going on. I was like, what the fuck? And now seated shoulder press machine. So everything he's done so far with the 4 exercises have all been front delt heavy. If you think about boxing, how overused your front delts are, it doesn't mean don't train them, but to go into the gym and then add banded bench press, incline flies, and then do a combo of front raises and lateral raises, and then do seated shoulder press. Honestly, I wonder what his other days look like, because if you're doing all this pushing so far, we'll see what comes after this as well, but if you're doing all this pushing so far, you've still got to fit, ideally, some kind of pulling and then your lower body work. And if you're doing just pushing on this day, which I'm hoping it's not, we'll see, then your training schedule is going to be real whack. And that's a superset too. That still doesn't make sense, even if you were a bodybuilder and you were just trying to build muscle, which this program honestly looks like a bodybuilding style program, that would be stupid. If you're going to do something like this, remember, in hypertrophy context, sets taken close to failure is what's most important. And yes, you can get the fatigue earlier by doing something like isolation exercises first, but you're severely limiting the load and the tension you can get when doing the machine version. And we're not even talking about a hypertrophy context here. This is purely for boxing sports performance. And this makes no sense so far. I think they're actually just personal trainers at that gym, to be honest. No shade. But in terms of a boxing program, this is not good so far. Okay, now we're getting some back work. Okay, so looks like they started the session purely with pressing, and now they're doing all their rows with this. So machine row, nothing wrong with that. I quite like machines for rowing because you usually have some kind of chest support. So if you want to limit lower back involvement and stuff like that, that can be a good option too. And then machine pull down. Is he supersetting these again too? Let's see. Yeah, I don't understand why. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to superset 2 pushing and 2 pulling exercises together. If you're going to go with this particular session, a better setup would have been to superset the pushes and pulls, so you don't have the fatigue going from working the same muscle twice in a row. So you would do the banded bench press, and then you would do like that machine row, and then you would do his whatever shoulder exercise, and then you would do the machine pull down. And then that way you're not going to have competing, exercises against each other, ruining the performance of each exercise. So let's see what we've got next. Also, make sure this is the last day for the pre-sale for the Secrets of Combat Sports Strength and Conditioning course. Andrew Usher is running through all his conditioning, PhD research and how you can apply it properly. That's down in the description. The pre-sale ends today. So it's over 60% off. I'm going to do all the strength power work. Essentially, I'm not going to give you what's happening in this video. And what else we got? More pull downs. Okay, now we're into lob. Holy shit, this program's really damn long. What's he doing? Okay, I need to watch another set of that. Nothing wrong with the leg press, by the way. Leg press is he about to superset with squats? Is this for real? Those are actually pretty good squats too. 60 kilo squats. Okay, it's going up now. Whoa, what? No, surely not. So is he doing intentionally slow leg presses too? I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here. So excuse the silence. So he's doing intentionally slow concentric. So look, you can, and then why is he doing that? I don't understand. So controlling the eccentric phase on the way down, perfectly fine. It's something you just want to do so you don't dive bomb the reps and obviously it depends on the exercise, but something you want to do is you don't dive bomb the reps and you have control, and then you can blast it on the way up. The concentric phase should be hard and fast, because if you're doing it intentionally slow, it means you're not tapping into any of the higher threshold motor units, aka type 2 muscle fibers, because type 2 muscle fibers only kick in when they're needed, and when they're needed is when there's high force production needed. So if you're doing intentionally slow, you're not producing a lot of force. That's different from a weight moving slow because it's heavy, because of the force velocity relationship, right? The more force that is produced, the less velocity that is essentially happening. So if just think, for example, you're doing a heavy 1 RM squat, that thing's going to move slowly. But if you're just moving lightweight slowly, then you're just literally producing sub-maximal forces. Like this whole session is sub-maximal weights. And if you think about what we're trying to do in the weight room, we're trying to force adaptations from the weight training. And the adaptations we're looking at things like better motor unit recruitment and activation of the main muscles being used. To do that, you need heavy loads to be able to recruit the type 2 muscle fibers that you want to train. You want those muscle fibers to ideally grow in size, or at least have better neural input, so you can produce more force. And the other thing you want to do is you want to produce more force quickly. So you need to do something that's going to allow you to produce that force fast. Now that doesn't mean doing maximal strength training isn't going to give you that. It will give you some of that, but to a certain extent. So those are the two big ones. And then you've also got the coordination between the muscles firing themselves during different movements, which is a little more down to specificity. So now he's just done super slow leg presses with a plate each side. And any of you who have been on the leg press know a plate each side a 12-year-old could do. And then he's squatting 80 kilos in a superset, which again makes no sense because you're not maximizing a thing. And then you're on the leg extension doing more quads, and you just pump it. He's probably going to be pretty sore after the session. It's quite a bit of volume. And why the leg extension is even in the session, I do not know. Look, you can use the leg extension. There's nothing wrong with it. But if the goal of the session is to maximize these adaptations, the leg extension is not going to get you there. It looks like he's going hard. Oh, he can barely walk. Oh my God. As a boxer, this is what you want to avoid. Any kind of soreness and, I guess you could say, hard pump, limping, he's on the step or two afterwards, goddamn. Anything like that means the training you did is probably not conducive to what you're trying to get out of it in the ring. And when we talk about what we're trying to get out of it in the ring, you're wanting to express high levels of speed, strength, and power. If you're training to high levels of fatigue, you're blunting that response. And you're not training that response in the gym. And that's when you start to get issues with, oh, I don't like going to the gym because, it makes me feel slow, it makes me feel tired, it makes me feel sore. And it's probably because, not you in particular who is watching this, but it's probably because you are doing sessions like this where it's a lot of volume, a lot of exercise, and a lot of wasted time, to be honest. And again, nothing against coaches, fighters, anything like that. I just want to give you guys, the information so you can take it and make your training better. And if you're doing, I guess, bodybuilding style sessions like this, then yeah, it's not going to serve you well. I mean, of course, if you're trying to gain mass and move up a weight class, etc., there's still a better way to do it than what they're doing here. But then after doing all that and then getting on the stepper as well, like if your goal was, say, speed and power, you probably wouldn't want to do this afterwards. You want to keep like the last thing your body did as that quote unquote memory, and doing some kind of speed power work. Now he's doing arms. Speed power work, and then finish it. The session would take like 45 minutes max, depending on what you're trying to do. But interesting that he's on the stepper, now he's doing arms. I'm assuming maybe this is just his own little extras he's doing. And yes, do your curls. Curls are always a good option. I think that's all he's got. Yeah, honestly, I hate to be like this and be the person that says this is actually fucking stupid. But it just is. And it doesn't even matter what phase. Like, usually I can give some reasoning as to, okay, this could be during this phase. He could maybe have this injury. That's why they're doing this. Okay, I could see why someone might do this. And it's not so bad that it's going to be completely detrimental. But then you watch something like this and you go, like, there's literally no reasoning. There's no reasoning that this session should have been structured the way it was. And it doesn't even matter if it was straight after a fight, far away from a fight, before a fight, any of that. There's no reason at all, unless, I mean, even if he was coming off an injury and he was getting back into the gym, there would still be no reason to have a session structured like this and performed like this. It's unfortunate, but yeah, that's just how it is. So if you have any comments, I'm sure I'm going to get blasted in the comments. Go for it. All you smooth brains can comment and whatnot. But I'll see you in the next video.